G'day guys and welcome back to AdosTheGreat YouTube channel. So guys, in today's video, I'm going to be predicting every NRL team's Rookie of the Year for 2024. Crazy to think we're in 2024. The rugby league season is only just over a month away. Insane stuff, and I cannot wait to get into this one, guys. Now, before we get started, if you enjoy this content and you are new here and not subscribed, or hear me out, you're coming back, you're a regular, but you haven't hit that sub button, please hit that sub button. Give me a like on this video, guys. It really helps the growth of the channel. But without further ado, let's jump in and talk rookies. So for the Brisbane Broncos, my Rookie of the Year prediction is Benjamin Takura. Look, there's a lot of names here I'm probably going to butcher, so I do apologise about that. But Ben, he is enormous, standing well over 200 centimetres. He is a giant. He towers over players like Paddy Carrigan, which I actually don't think Paddy's that tall. Payne Haas and several other Broncos players. He is the tallest player in the squad. He is a hard ball runner. He is just a competitor, and I think he will slot straight in to the Broncos 17 somewhere, or at least play a good portion of the season. So he is my Rookie of the Year prediction there for the Broncos. Next up, we've got the Canberra Raiders. For me, I think Ethan Strange is going to be the Rookie of the Year. I think he played 1 or 2 games in 2023. I could be completely wrong there, but I do think that he will get the starting centre spot for them. Outside of that, could potentially play 5'8" as well. And with White not being there, that spot is open. However, I do think KO Weeks will get that one. But yeah, Ethan Strange, I think he will be a brilliant addition to the 17-man Canberra squad. And I think he will be the Rookie of the Year for the Canberra Raiders. All right, next up, we've got the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. My Rookie of the Year for the Doggies is Jarrell Skelton. Now, Jarrell is, we've seen a small portion of him in 2023. He is a hard ball runner. He's a bit like, I guess you could say a little bit like a Ronaldo Mulatalo mixed with a Brian To'o. He knows how to score a try. He knows how to get out of trouble. He's a tough player, and I think if he can slot his way into that Bulldogs squad, he will definitely be in the running for Rookie of the Year. Look, obviously they've got a stacked backline. Where are you going to put Blake Taaffe? Where are you going to put Stephen Crichton? I think Crichton does get that fullback spot though. You've got Connor Tracy. You've got Bronson Cherry, you've got, I mean, I can't even think, Wilson, Addo Carr. Like, it is stacked. It is stacked. I don't know how he's going to fit in there, but I do think he will eventually slot somewhere in the team. I think he's too good not to be in there somewhere. I forgot about Jacob Kiraz as well. Yeah, look, I think he will be a part of the Bulldogs team at some point. I think he'll get enough games behind him to win the Rookie of the Year. All right, next up, we've got the Gold Coast Titans. Now, I'm seeing a lot of not so much Titans fans, but a lot of NRL content creators calling out Tommy Weaver. And look, I don't disagree. Like, if Foz gets injured or Tanner Boyd does, then I guess you could pick Tommy Weaver there. But I honestly think Josiah Pahulu is going to be a beast, especially around Origin time. I reckon he could get about 4 or 5 games there, and I do think that he is a genuine chance at winning the Gold Coast Titans Rookie of the Year. Now, a lot of people might be going, mate, you know, this is not a really good tape. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Look, I watched him in the trials last season. I think it was against the Broncos. There was one. I thought he was incredible then. I actually thought he might get a start last season, but I do think he gets some games under his belt in 2024, and I do think he wins their Rookie of the Year. All right, next up from the Sharks, Kale Iro. Man, I'm surprised he hasn't made his. I think he's made his debut, but I'm surprised he hasn't played more than 5 NRL games, to be honest. Now, Cade Dykes is another player that could hip him for the centre spot potentially, but I do think Kale Iro will play there and will dominate. Now, Sifa Talakai, amazing season last year, but I do think he is going to transition into more of a middle or a back rower. I think that they've got to look to the future for the centres, and I do think Kale Iro will be the first player picked there. So he is my pick for the Cronulla Sharks Rookie of the Year. Right, next up, from the Parramatta Eels, I've gone with Blaze Talangi. Not too many players to pick for the Eels, unfortunately, but I do think that if given the opportunity, Blaze will excel and will do a job for Parramatta, so that is why he is my Rookie of the Year for the Eels. All right, next up for the Cowboys, I've gone with Zach Labour. Now, obviously, Peter Hiku leaves that centre spot wide open. You've got Vilea, you've got Valame, who both can slot in there. But I think Zach Labour's done enough to at least start the season in the centres. And I think he'll play enough games there to solidify him as their Rookie of the Year for 2024. All right, next up, I'm going to butcher this name as well. I know I am. We're just going to say Big Zion from the New Zealand Warriors. Zion is an absolute beast, and I think we're going to see a lot of footy from him in 2024, especially with Adam Fanua-Blake leaving at season's end. I think he will transition into a starting front rower next year, but I do think he will play a lot of minutes off the bench eventually in 2024, winning him the Warriors Rookie of the Year. All right, for the Newcastle Knights, now there's several options you could look at here. There's Armstrong, I think there's a young fella called Fletcher as well, last name I can't remember, but the one that stands out for me is Christian Mapapalangi. Injuries have really hammered this young fella. I'm surprised he hasn't really had a go yet in the NRL, a proper go, because he is an absolute weapon. And with Dom Young leaving, that wing spot is up for grabs. There's several players that could nab that spot. Obviously, you've got Tommy Jenkins coming over from Penrith. I believe that's right. But I do think Christian Mapapalangi will get the first crack at that. He can play in the halves as well, but they obviously don't need the halves covered. They've got a lot of depth there, so I do think Christian Mapapalangi plays on the wing for Newcastle and wins their Rookie of the Year for 2024. All right, for the Melbourne Storm, bit of a bold pick here because obviously you've got Sua Fa'alongu, who is pretty much primed to get a bench spot for the Storm, or that's how it's looking at the moment. But I'm going a little bit left field here, and I'm going Jack Howarth. Now, Jack didn't really get a crack last year, the crack that a lot of people thought he would, and I think he's going to take every opportunity in the trials to prove why he should be in the 17-man squad. Now, prior to them signing Sean Bloor in the Justin Olam trade, I thought, he's a shoo-in. He's going to get a lot more minutes in the second row. And then, obviously, they got Sean Bloor, and that blew my prediction out of the water. But I still think that Jack is going to train his ass off in the preseason. I reckon he's going to have a really good trial series there, or preseason challenge for the Storm. And I do think he gets a spot on the bench. And that is my prediction. He wins the Melbourne Storm Rookie of the Year. All right, for Manly, a couple of players that came to mind here. Jamie Humphries is an amazing shout-out. Can play in the back row, can play at 5'8", can play at centre. It probably can play at dummy half as well. He is definitely a player to watch out for. But for my pick, it's Gordon Chan Kum Tong. Fun name to say. He's a little beast. He's a little beast. He's a short king. Like myself, he is a short king. But I tell you what, he is going to make a name for himself in 2024. I do think he gets that number 14 jersey and shares the hooking role with Lockie Croker. All right, next up we've got the Dolphins. So for me, I think we see Oren Keeley, my apologies. He signed with the Dolphins from Newcastle. Didn't really get the opportunities that a lot of people probably expected him to for the Knights, so he joins the Dolphins. I do think while he probably won't feature in their round one squad, I do think he will crack the 17 at some point in 2024, and that is why he gets my vote for the Dolphins Rookie of the Year. All right, next up, we've got the West Tigers. Another name I am going to butcher, so we're just going to say his first name, Solomona. He joins from the East Tigers. He was in the Melbourne Storm system and was highly touted in the Melbourne Storm system as well. Now, I know a lot of people have Fainu as their favourite for Rookie of the Year, but I think if Solomona can slot into these centres, he is a shoo-in for Rookie of the Year. I also think he will be up there for most tries scored for the West Tigers if he gets that centre spot. He's an absolute weapon. If he and Justin Olam are the centres there for the Tigers, I reckon they could have a bloody good season, that's for sure. So he is my Rookie of the Year for the Tigers. Next up, for the Dragons, I've gone with Viliami Fifita, joining them from the Seagulls. I do think he nabs a bench spot there for the Dragons and definitely locks in his spot as Rookie of the Year for them. Right, next up, we've got Xavier Valle. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right, but I tell you what, this bloke, what a motor he has on him. With Jared Warrior-Hargreaves coming to the end of his career, I think that Xavier is going to be the next man up for the Roosters. He's going to have a big year when he gets his opportunity, and I think that he's going to take it with two hands. And a bit like Siwa Wong, I do think that he is going to be their Rookie of the Year for 2024. All right, over to my team, the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Tyrone Munro. And man, I tell you what, if there is a favourite for Rookie of the Year for the NRL in general, I think Tyrone Munro has to be up there. The kid is sensational, and I believe that he will get his opportunity in the NRL. Well, he's already had his opportunity, but I do think he will get more of an opportunity in the NRL in 2024. It is unfortunate that Isaiah Tass probably misses out then. However, I do think they could transition Tass into more of a forward off the bench. But yeah, Tyrone Munro, I think, will absolutely leapfrog the competition in tries scored as well. I do think he could be, say, a top 5 try scorer in 2024, as well as the Rookie of the Year for not only the Rabbitohs, but the NRL in general. All right, we are now down to the final player on my list, and this one comes from the Penrith Panthers. I've gone with Liam Henry. I think Liam is going to have a massive season. Obviously, they've lost Zach Hosking. I wouldn't say they're light on in the forward pack. They've actually got a lot of good youngsters coming through. They've got that next man up mentality that a lot of clubs just don't have. And I think Liam Henry is no exception to that rule. I think when given the opportunity, he's going to take it with both hands. He's going to run with it, and he is going to be up there as a top 5 rookie in the entire NRL. That's what I'm calling right now. Probably said NBA in this video, and I do apologise if I did. I've got NBA on my mind, so I do apologise if I did slip up there. But yeah, Liam Henry is my Rookie of the Year for the Penrith Panthers, and I think he's going to have a massive season. All right, guys, that is going to wrap up this one. A bit of a longer video, but I definitely enjoyed making this one. A lot of fun to talk about some of the up-and-comers, or as Rugby League Guru would say, some of the could-be-anythings of the NRL. Let me know your Rookie of the Year predictions for your favourite NRL team. Thank you all so much for tuning in, guys. If you could, leave a like on the video, hit that sub button. Make sure you go over, check out my YouTube, my Instagram and TikTok. I post content pretty well daily on both those social media platforms. So go and check it out for me, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And as always, my friends, I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.